Good morning and welcome to Sunday Today on this October 27th. I'm Willie Geist. We begin with the breaking news that the world's most wanted man has been killed in a mission led by United States Special Forces. President Trump making the announcement from the White House just moments ago.
Last night, the United States brought the world's #1 terrorist leader to justice. Abu Bakr al Baghdadi is dead.
The president describing in some detail the dangerous mission in northern Syria that killed the ISIS leader after a pursuit that ended, the president said, with al-Baghdadi blowing himself up in a tunnel. The president reporting no United States personnel died in the raid. We've got reaction from around the world, but first let's go right back to the White House and NBC's chief correspondent there, Hallie Jackson. Hallie, good morning.
Good morning, Willie. You mentioned some level of detail from the president. This was an extraordinary level of operational detail from President Trump, laying out what he watched as he started to view this operation in the Situation Room. He says yesterday, starting right around 5 o'clock Eastern, the president in there huddling with his top advisors, including Vice President Pence, the defense secretary as well, laying out in very vivid imaging the violent final moments of al-Baghdadi. The president, as in very Trumpian language, you could say, Willie, describing Baghdadi as whimpering, crying, and screaming, apparently able to see and hear Baghdadi's final moments as he was dead-ended into a tunnel, according to President Trump. One U.S. canine went in after al-Baghdadi, and that is when the terrorist, the president says, blew up his suicide vest. I want to play for you a little bit of what the president had to say on that.
His body was mutilated by the blast. The tunnel had caved in on it in addition. But test results gave certain, immediate, and totally positive identification. It was him. The thug who tried so hard to intimidate others spent his last moments in utter fear, in total panic and dread, terrified of the American forces bearing down on him.
On timeline, President Trump says that U.S. intelligence officials knew roughly 2 weeks in advance of Baghdadi's location in this province in northern Syria, and for about 3 days had known that this operation was likely going to go down as it did on Saturday. The president not notifying congressional leaders at the time of the operation, although he did make a couple of phone calls to some of his Republican allies and leaders in the Senate earlier this morning, the president said. Notably, he said that U.S. military personnel, these special operations forces, took what he called highly sensitive material from this compound where Baghdadi was. This is a treasure trove, certainly, for the U.S. as they begin sifting through that. The president said that our Kurdish partners in Syria provided helpful information, but did spend a fair amount of time praising Russia in particular and Iraq for their cooperation in this. And the piece on the Kurds here, Willie, is notable because, as you know, the president has been seriously under fire for the last several weeks for having seemed to abandon our Kurdish partners in the region by pulling U.S. troops out of Syria. The president not having any second thoughts about that at all. In that lengthy question and answer session with reporters after the president delivered remarks, he talked about how he wants his soldiers home. President Trump clearly wanting to talk and share about the death of what he called a big name. The president wanted Baghdadi, he said, since the moment he took office, and it appears he has him. Willie.
And the president made a point of thanking the Syrian Kurds for their intelligence help with this mission, along with Russia, Turkey, Iraq, and Syria. Hallie Jackson at the White House. Hallie, thank you.